Five Nights Before Freddy's 2 is a FNAF fan game that came out on October 17th, 2017, to a somewhat mixed bag of responses. The game was released with some bugs that basically made it unplayable, as Bonnie would randomly jump scare the player for no reason. Also, a bug where Freddy would enter the cabin just like normal, but would never leave, causing the player's fatigue to lower, eventually killing you if the other animatronics didn't do it first. Even the creator himself pointed out the game's rocky launch and even cancelled the continuation of the series due to the poor responses. But that sure wasn't due to the lack of quality of presentation. Well, maybe that one, but we'll get to that later. I feel the game wasn't as big as the creator was hoping for because of the fact that it didn't double check for the game's bugs, or even had other people play them like beta testers. But he made it apparent that he works alone and doesn't seem likely to want any other team members. But having a few beta testers could have gone a long way, because what might look good to you might not look good for everyone. Having only him test the game, if that, made it so he had more of a biased perspective, as he probably would have glossed over some of the bugs if he believed the game is finished. Also, because he worked on things like the animations, to him they may seem fine, but many people, including myself, had an issue with the jerky and somewhat sickness-inducing movements of not just the animatronics, as when you move at all in any of the positions in the cabin in the game, the animation is very stuttery, causing me even some light disorientation, especially since the game runs at 60 FPS, but the animations in between running are like at 50 to 20 FPS. The creator's response to this issue? Not very good. This is a huge issue that makes the game feel very cheap, but his response to it feels so much like he doesn't want to go through the effort of adding extra in-betweens to make the animation smoother. Also, the mouse is a bit janky. Sometimes it doesn't face the side of your screen that your mouse is on, making it so you have to pull your cursor back and try again. Also, when the game first came out, there was a bug with the flashlight to where it wouldn't exactly track your mouse position, so it wouldn't keep up with your mouse. If you drag it, it would have lagged behind, which is obviously not good for a game that requires so heavily on the flashlight. Speaking of the flashlight, it literally does nothing beside add an extra layer to the game, because it doesn't light up anything. All it really does is scare away the animatronics, but you can see them just fine without the flashlight. The flashlight is only used to scare them away. Not a very good transition, but let's talk about the models and the character animations. Now, I'm not going to go out of my way and say that I could do better, because I can't. But the models look extremely basic, and basically look like how every SFM animator on YouTube at the time did FNAF 2 models. They didn't look very damaged or withered, especially Freddy. He looks too smooth. Freddy's model in FNAF 2 has so many holes and wires sticking out, but the model in this game just makes it look like he was unwithered. Basically how people estimate he looked back at Fredbear's Family Diner before they were transferred to FNAF 2's location. His mechanic is to waltz into your cabin while you hide underneath the table to defend against him, but his animation is super janky. It's just like he limps into the frame and bobs into place for a random amount of time and then limps back out. Oh, also, this game has a huge element of luck involved. The game has a huge problem with luck. The amount of time Freddy stays in your cabin is based on luck, how fast the animatronics get to you is based on luck, but more often than not, for me, Chica and Bonnie would appear at the same exact time. Also, Chica appeared without a sound clue, leaving me vulnerable to a random jump scare. It depends too much on luck. The game also has a very cheesy feel in some parts, especially in the voice acting department. Speaking of which, this game has a story. The story for this game has little to do with the actual animatronics, but instead focuses on our main character's marriage troubles. Yay! So yeah, completely randomly, the story has in this weird reason that the main character is being blackmailed to be in this cabin by this guy who's also being forced to make him stay at the cabin by some other company. The reason he is there is very weird and pretty personal and doesn't fit the elements of a FNAF game at all. It falls completely flat. The game isn't all bad though. The atmosphere is amazing, the sound design is very good, and the graphics aside from the main animatronics is great. However, I feel that the first game of the Five Nights Before Freddy series took more creative risks when it came to the gameplay and the story. It took place in a housing location for the animatronics a week before they were shipped to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. That's fun. And the game not having doors and the defense of turning off your power and seeing them walking in and out of your office is great and creative. but having the second game of any FNAF fan game series use withered models is very much ran into the ground, especially by 2017 standards, when fan games were plenty. The game has its issues, and overall would be a much better game if more time was spent on checking for bugs and cleaning up the animations and the model. Overall, the game is about a 5 out of 10. There's a lot of room for improvement that could have been realized in the third entry, but yeah, you know.